Hello. You know what? I can't see who's on. I got to learn this thing here. But I want to thank everybody who is going to be tuning in little by little. For those that don't know me, my name is Maritza. I am the founder of an organization called Enough Cries. Let me just turn off this music because it is distracting me. I'm doing praise and worship here. But I'm just going to wait. Hey, Charles. I'm going to wait for a couple of people to tune in and we'll begin because I like to begin on time. I said 6 o'clock and it is 6 o'clock. So we're going to start on time. I am really excited. This is my first podcast and where the podcast is called When Is Enough Enough? Okay. A lot of us don't know when to say enough is enough. And I'm gonna be looking between two cameras between my StreamYard and Facebook Live. So have patience with me because it's my first time. But we're gonna get it together. I'm gonna get it together. But I want to welcome everyone for tuning in and to learn a little bit about my organization and what I am trying to do within my community and all over the DMV, not just Prince William County, but the DMV location and anyone that is out of state that I see that they're tuning in. I hope that my information is also helpful, not just for you, but for someone you may know in the family, which is very, very important. Domestic violence, a lot of people think of domestic violence as a physical thing, and it's not. Excuse me. So we're going to be talking about that today, the different signs of domestic violence and how we confuse it, how we think that it probably isn't domestic violence. It's just an everyday issue that you may not even feel that you are being abused. So I'm going to touch that a little bit today. And I just want to see, I have like 9 viewers. So that's good. Um, I just want to ask you guys a question. I know if you don't want to participate because we are live, but pretty much just ask yourself the question. What is domestic violence? Let's start with that. Let's see if anybody wants to chime in and answer that question. There's no right or wrong answer, but what is domestic violence? Nobody? Anybody? Okay. I didn't expect anybody to answer anyway. But domestic violence, there's different signs of domestic violence. Obviously, everyone knows of the physical, right? Can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a thumbs up because it's my first time and I want to make sure everybody hears the information. So you guys can hear me okay? Okay. So domestic violence is very good. Verbal abuse as well. Um, a lot of people think of domestic violence of something being physical. That is the stereotype of everyone. You think of domestic violence as like, oh, she's getting hit on. No. We have the emotional part of it. We have the verbal part of it. We have, of course, the physical part of it. We have, let's see, the financial part of it, which a lot of people are going to say financial. Yes, the financial part of it. And let's see, and the child abuse. So that is also another form of abuse that everyone is aware of and know about. I'm going to talk to you about all these different kinds of domestic violence. Okay. It all falls under one umbrella. Um, by no means I'm a specialist. I'm a licensed psychiatrist. I'm a licensed counselor. No, I'm not, nor certified. I am going to speak to you only about my life experience and how I dealt with abuse itself and how I was able to overcome. And I'm hoping that my life experience and my battles helps you out and helps someone else out in your family that they're going through something and you may not even be aware. So I'm also going to discuss, not today, but in future podcasts, we'll talk about signs that you can look out for in a family member that is probably being abused and no one knows about it, because I personally did not speak about domestic violence or my abuser or what I was going through to my family, not even my parents. So when I came out to speak about it, a lot of people were surprised because my personality is so bubbly and outgoing that no one could imagine or even think about the fact that I was going through this for so many years. So it's easy to hide um, when you're being abused, because our mentality and the way we were raised, I'm going to speak on Latino people and Hispanic people and even the Black community. Um, we were raised that what happens in the house stays in the house, right? Like no one needs to know our business. No one needs to know what we're going through in this house. That mentality that we were raised is so wrong. Why? Because I'm thankful today that I'm able to tell you my story. But my story could have been a horrendous story as to me losing my life to domestic violence, even to me trying to commit suicide. And I'm here today. I'm here today to speak about my story and share my story and be a vessel of just being able to overcome a battle. I'm not going to say by myself, but I'm going to say with God. Okay. And reason why I say that is because I was raised in church, and a lot of things that I was going through, although I didn't speak to people about it, I always had a constant communication with God as to why me? Why am I going through this? Why are you allowing this to happen to me? Like, I wasn't a bad person. So I'm trying to figure out why God is allowing me to go through this tragedy when I don't need to. And I didn't want to. But we're going to go back to the subject, which is the different signs of abuse. Okay. So, physical, we all know it's hitting, shoving, pulling, um, any physical damage is abuse, right? Me personally, I was physical, emotional, and verbal. And without even knowing, I will say financially abused. Why? Because I didn't make enough money to leave my household with 3 kids. I didn't make the money. So I figured, why struggle leaving this household and not being able to feed 3 children? So I convinced myself, well, let me deal with this. It's only once in a blue moon that it happens, but my kids are being fed. My kids have a bed, and my kids have their own room, and we're okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little congested. So, as a mother, that's how we think. As a parent, that's how we think, right? We don't want to leave our kids without when they have it, and then we can deal with what we're dealing with temporary. Now, keep this in mind. That's financial abuse. Some people also get allowance. Their husbands will give them an allowance monthly so they have control of the finances, and their wife is only limited to funds. So again, she's going to be thinking, I can't leave with 50 bucks a month. I can't leave with $100 a month. Where is that going to get me to? How am I going to live? What hotel am I going to get? How am I going to eat? Especially when you have kids, it's hard to pick up and go. Trust me, the struggle was real. The struggle was real, that you are constantly thinking of the well-being of your child and not really feeding yourself because you want to feed them. So, physical abuse was a big thing for my in my life, but what really hindered me was the verbal abuse. And I say this because, excuse me, because verbal abuse stays with you forever. I mean, I've been left, I will say 24 years ago. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to be very transparent with you because I want you guys to really understand where I'm coming from. 24 years ago, I still from time to time struggle with the verbal abuse. And I say that I don't give it any power over me, but I may struggle from time to time with the verbal abuse because if you're getting physically abused, you can always take a Tylenol, an ibuprofen, and in a couple of hours you're feeling okay. Now, unless you have a broken bone, but physical, I got over it with an ibuprofen and a Tylenol. The verbal abuse, a lot of people don't understand this. The verbal abuse, if you're calling someone stupid, they say words, words don't hurt, words do hurt. They hurt very much and they stay embedded in you. I don't care what nobody says. This is just my experience. When he used to tell me, you have 3 kids, no one's going to want you with 3 kids. No one's going to help you with 3 kids. You um you have stretch marks from 3 kids. You only have a high school diploma. You don't have not a college degree. You're not going to get a good paying job. You're not going to amount to anything. You start believing what he is saying and you start doubting yourself because of what he is saying. So he has taken power over your mind and you start believing everything that he is saying to be true when you know it's not, but you believe everything he is saying. Tough to deal with. Yes, Charles, this is something really hard to deal with, but we can all make it through. Now, 24 years ago, I was able to leave that bad relationship. But just recently, I did not give him that power over me mentally anymore because it was hindering me. It was preventing me to grow. It was preventing me to move forward in life and better myself, not just for me, but to give my children a better life, right? So I had to learn to tell myself, and I know it sounds crazy, but I give myself words of affirmation every day. I'm capable of being great. I'm capable of getting a master's degree. I am capable of being in a successful relationship and loving relationship and an amazing marriage and grow old with someone. Yes, I am capable and I'm able to do those great, amazing things. But I had to tell myself I can't no longer give him that power over me mentally because it was really draining me to the point that I was doubting myself. Okay, and that's the emotional abuse, like the verbal abuse of things. The emotional abuse can also be um somebody just constantly putting you down. Okay, and I get it. I mean, I'm not an expert, I'm not married, I'm not in a relationship, but when your partner tells you all the time that or uses the B word, and that is not your name, calls you out of your name, that's a disrespect because you should supposed to be respecting. You should be respecting your partner, your significant other, right? And your home should be your safe haven. That should be your number one priority to keep your home as a safe haven. So I understand we in relationships, we may not what's the word I'm trying to find? Well, it's not going to always be peaches and cream, but we have to learn not to disrespect each other, to always respect the person that you're in a relationship with. And if it ever reaches a point that you're not um, loving and respecting your partner, then walk away. Walk away and no longer be in that relationship because it's going to escalate to something that you probably were trying to avoid, but it's always going to escalate to something. Just give yourself a timeout and then go back to the conversation and talk about it and see if you can come up with a solution to the problem. But again, this is my first podcast, and I'm super excited about it because I'm going to be able to talk to other women that have gone through things, different kind of abuse. We're going to speak to authors. We're going to be speaking to survivors. This podcast is not just for women. Okay. It's not just for women to bash out men. No, absolutely not. This is for men and women because throughout the years, I have learned that, and I have met amazing men that are married, have a successful marriage, and they have been emotional abuse and physically abuse. And as women, I'm going to say we sometimes get a little carried our way with our hands. And we may be with a great guy and we may get a little out of control and put our hands on him, expecting him not to hit us back. We need to respect. If he is our man and he is the head of household, we need to give that man respect. And if you cannot give that man respect, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Walk away. Okay. So I don't want this podcast to be just geared to women. I want it to be geared to men and women. I want us to be aware of abuse, the different signs of abuse, and be a help to a family member, a friend, because you never know who's going through something. And like I said, we're very good to hide what we're going through in our house, especially if we have daughters. We want to teach our daughters to speak out. We want to teach our daughters that it's okay for them to come to us and ask us questions about what is abuse, not just physical, but mental abuse, sexual abuse, child abuse. Um, this podcast is going to pretty much get us up to par where we need to be when it comes to all the signs of abuse. Numbers where you can call. I did write down here a number. I'm sorry. There's always a hotline in every community. So a 24/7 hotline, English and in Spanish. And the number to that is 1-800-799-7233. I will be posting that on when I get off of Facebook Live. Or you can even text. If you don't want to speak to someone because you're scared, you can even text 88788 and someone will come on and chat with you. You don't have to share information, but someone will be there to chat with you and ask you if you need help. We will also be speaking about, which is very, very interesting because I have a lot of Prince William County police officers that I work with. I do a lot of volunteer in our community. I'm sorry, I'm so stuffy. I do a lot of volunteer work in our community, and I just want to say thank you to all the police officers that do take these calls, 911 calls, because some of our police officers lose their life to these 911 calls. And we have to appreciate them as well because they put their life on the line anytime they get a call, especially for domestic violence, because they don't know what's on the other side of that door, what is waiting for them. There's been incidents here in Prince William County that police officers have lost their life responding to a 911 call for domestic violence. So domestic violence is real. I know we don't see it a lot in the news and we may see it randomly, but it is happening in homes that you can't even imagine. It may be your next door neighbor. So hi, everybody. Thank you. So I just want to put the awareness out there and let everyone know that this is not just for women. This awareness is for men and women to help us and teach our daughters and teach our sons also not to put their hands on their daughter, on females. I'm sorry, on females. And teach our sons how to be gentlemen. Our kids, you know, they're growing up to become adults, and we got to teach them these things because our parents, I don't know why. I don't know. in my time, this was a conversation that was not spoken about. I don't know understand why. But it's a topic that we should be opening in our household and talking to our kids about, if and teaching them what domestic violence is and all the signs and all the signs. I don't want them to become adjusted to something that is not normal. Our daughters may be experiencing mental or verbal abuse, not necessarily physical. And we want to let them know, like, hey, this is not normal. This is not normal. This is abuse, even if it's small or, how intense it is. It's not normal. So I don't want to take any more of your time. I know this subject is not someone that I'm going to get a lot of people to participate in on live, but you're more than welcome to message me on my social media page with any questions that I can answer. If there's any concerns or information as to 800 numbers. But this podcast will be taking place the first Saturday of every month. And I'm super excited because I have amazing men and women that will be tuning in, speaking, and sharing with you their testimony. I have amazing authors that will be sharing also their books. And I'm super excited in the journey that God has put me in. At first, I didn't understand why I was going through what I was going through and question a lot to why I was going through certain things. But being here today, I'm thankful for the life experiences that I have gotten. I'm thankful for God just pretty much using me in an amazing way. And I don't want to start crying. Excuse me. But my organization this year is going to be my 10th year anniversary for my organization Enough Cries, and it's my baby. My organization is my baby. I'm living proof of what I've been through. I'm here today. I'm blessed. I've been it's been a journey, a hell of a journey. But I'm so thankful that I'm here to talk about my journey, to talk about my life experience and share it with other people and try to help other people as to how to make it through and how to be not a victim, but a survivor. And I'm truly blessed. I want to say thank you to everyone that has tuned in. I want to say thank you to Charles Pratt because when I wanted to start the podcast last year, I didn't know how to start it. And God places people in your path to help you and encourage you. And he was one of those encouragers that told me you can do it. And if one person believes in you, that goes a long way. That goes a long way because it encourages you to move forward and know, like, hey, I'm on the right path. I can do this. He believes in me. I can do this. And I want to thank God for those amazing friends that God has placed in my life. And continue to place in my life. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for you guys tuning in. Again, the podcast will take place the first Saturday of every month at 6 o'clock. And it is called When Is Enough Enough? So when is your enough enough? Love you guys and stay tuned to next month.